Thank you and good morning. Welcome to Fremantle Oval. I'm very pleased to welcome you here today to launch the Fremantle Dockers' first Reconciliation Action Plan. We have a rich heritage of Indigenous players, and the development of this Reconciliation Action Plan allows the club to not only acknowledge the many Indigenous players who have represented our club, 30 drafted in all, but also strengthens our community connections and our commitment to reconciliation. The Reconciliation Action Plan has been developed with the support of our major sponsor and Indigenous program partner Woodside, Reconciliation Australia, the South West Aboriginal Land and Sea Council, our staff and our players. I thank each of these important stakeholders for their contribution to the Reconciliation Action Plan. In conjunction with today's launch, the club is releasing its first ever Indigenous round jumper to be worn by the players in our game against Melbourne on Sunday 26 May at Patterson Stadium. The jumper was designed by Richard Wally and our very own Roger Hayden, who is here with us this morning. The players are very much looking forward to wearing this jumper in a little over a week's time. I'd now like to hand over to Executive Director from Woodside, Rob Cole, to make a few comments.
Thanks, Steve. I'd like to congratulate the Dockers on the launch of their first wrap. Two of our team members actually helped the Dockers pull together the document. It's a first-class document. Woodside's actually got some experience in preparing wraps. We have prepared two of our own going back to 2010. This one's a first-class product. It's received really positive feedback from Reconciliation Australia, which is a tribute to the quality of the commitments in the document. A key driver of our sponsorship when it was formed with the Dockers and renewed more recently was to bring the combined force of our respective but different organisations together to contribute to positive outcomes in the community, including the Indigenous community. At Woodside, there are a number of things we can do and do to advance reconciliation. But the Dockers really are in a unique position. They have the capacity to touch hundreds of thousands of people through their broader supporter base, and indeed through their participation in the AFL to touch millions. So we're very proud to support the launch of this wrap. As I said, it's a first-class document. Congratulations again to the Dockers, and we look forward to working them throughout the period of the wrap and beyond. Thank you.
Any questions?
Steve, obviously the Dockers have had such a great history of inclusion with Indigenous players. How does this plan sort of take it to the next level?
Well, just on that, so 30 Indigenous players in all that have been drafted by the football club, 25 of which have played for our football club. So that's certainly a large number given our short history. This plan has been developed, as we said, in conjunction with Woodside, and we recognise that with our profile comes responsibility. We're excited by it. We've learnt a lot through this process, and not only the recognition that we receive from Woodside, but also from Reconciliation Australia. So we're looking forward to delivering. We're looking forward to learning as we go, and the showcase in 2 weeks' time against Melbourne at Patterson Stadium will be a core platform for this Reconciliation Action Plan.
What are some of the key ideas or key parts of the plan?
Well, first and foremost, the visual element of it, the jumper that the guys are wearing today. When we talked to the players just 2 weeks ago, we had a number of players involved, obviously led by Roger and Richard Wally, but when we talked to the full playing group 2 weeks ago and showed them the jumper, there was real excitement about the design, and they're very much looking forward to it, as we said, wearing in 2 weeks' time. But in terms of the game against Melbourne, we will be holding a Welcome to Country. We'll be using our leading community goals program to drive a lot of the programs and a lot of the touch points and learnings in the community about Indigenous Australians. So they're probably some of the key highlights that will be driving this program.
How important do you think is AFL footy in terms of you see, Magic Tour coming to the scene and just bring all sort of walks of life and all cultures together in one environment? I guess how important is footy and sport in that context, do you think?
Well, we're all very lucky to be involved in the great game that is the AFL, and one of the great features of it is a very inclusive sport. It includes everyone of all shapes and sizes and indeed origins, and that's really pleasing, being driven by a first-class governing body in the AFL with not only their programs but their development programs as far as broader community, but also the development programs in the game. So very proud to be working in a leading organisation and game such as the AFL.
Rolling something like this out amongst the play group, I suppose it helps as well young draftees like Josh Simpson, who's probably from a more traditional background. Is it good for the play group to understand sort of more where he's coming from and how they can better help him develop?
Well, I'm probably throwing to Jono to sort of talk about that in the context of, and how do you feel about wearing this jumper in 2 weeks' time as well?
Yeah, firstly, it's very exciting to have something like this, and we've been working on it for a number of years now, and especially having those players, the older players that have retired, Jeff Farmer, Des Hedlund, Troy Cook, Anthony Grover, Rogers himself. We've always wanted to sort of like celebrate something like this, and to have it done this year, it's very exciting, not only for me and the players, the whole club and the supporters and the community. So, but yeah, your question that I think for a lot of the players that are from like Melbourne and are not brought up with a lot of Indigenous people around them, and to come to a club and you have players like Josh Simpson come from a traditional sort of background, and he believes and the way he lives up there. I think it's good for the club and those players to learn all that stuff, and so yeah, I'm really pleased with the way the club's handle it, and hopefully over the next couple of years those players can learn a lot about the culture of the Indigenous players.
Roger, if I could just ask you a question about the jersey design. You helped design it, I think they said before.
Yeah. So I just called up my uncle Richard, and had him design something that we can go forward with, and it's more about location on the jumper and the water and the ocean around Fremantle. So it didn't take that long to come up with and have it written down and designed. So in the end, it came up really well. As you can see, the lines through it represent the ocean and the waves and the inner strength down in the lower corner of the jumper. And as it builds out, it represents it getting gradually stronger. So, sorry, mate. So with the boomerangs as well, it's combative. So with the boomerang, it's more with the strength of it coming home. Sorry, guys, a little bit sick here. And the strength of it come back home, the combative nature of the game, and the way it, the boys go out there and play the game, and the music. So with that, when the boys go out there, it's the way they play, and it looks amazing, to be honest. So with the help of Uncle Richard, it came up really well, and just really happy that the club handled it the way they did and came through for it. So it's really good.
Mick, what has it meant to you, mate, to play a club like Fremantle and has such a proud Indigenous history?
Yeah, Roger told me a stat this morning that we're one of 3 clubs that have had a Indigenous player on their list in every year they've been in the competition, and that's us and GWS and Gold Coast. So it's very special to be part of this the club and see those players back in the day that fought their heart out to sort of get recognised in WA, and the Dale Kickett's and the Winston Abrahams, Gary Durkos. These players that went out there and tried their hardest to get this club going in the right direction. So and to be part of it and to play in this round in a couple of weeks will be something special. And I know my family will be there supporting, and I know these guys here will love to be out there and running out with this jumper on. So I can't wait.
You feel a responsibility to sort of continue that legacy with these young guys like Stephen and Michael Walters and Josh Simpson, these sorts of players?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I see myself as a leader amongst this group, and when I go, and Stephen Hill will take control, and Michael Walters is leading by example at the moment. So it's just a great club to be around, and it's great history that we're all these Aboriginal players that have played for the club. So hopefully we can keep going along this track.
Can I ask you a question about the game performance the weekend. Do you think you might have to ruck, considering the amount of rucking you do available at the moment?
Unsure, mate. I think Dorse played a really good game, pinch hitting in the ruck, and yeah, whatever Ross brings up and whatever Ross wants, and the players will put their hand up and do whatever they want, whatever they can to play their role for the team. So whatever happens, and but we'll have a structure to match it against Sydney, and so we'll have a game plan to go over there and hopefully come away with the win.
Are you guys quite confident of the SCG? You won 2 of the last 3 games there.
I think we're confident with the way we're playing at the moment, and the game plan has been working for us. And I know injuries have hurt us, but we've got players that can come in and play those roles. So so yeah, so we'll go over there and match it against Sydney, and they're coming off a loss against Hawthorn on the weekend, so they'll want to come out and get a win as well. So we know it's going to be a big test for us, but we're going over to win 4 points.
Do you feel like you've got good insight with Mark Stone and Brett Kirk amongst your coaching staff?
Yeah, hopefully. They've been there for a number of years, and Kirk has played with a number of those players. So no doubt the players will be in their office all week this week, and trying to get the insight of a number of players. So that can sort of a bonus for us to have those 2 players, those 2 guys on our coaching staff to help us out.
What can you tell us about Jack Hannon and his temperament and what he's sort of been like since he's arrived at the club?
Yeah, Jack's been great. He was picked up while he was training with Melbourne in Darwin, and he flew straight down and got right into it. He works really hard in the gym and out on the track, and for a player to come in and fill the shoes of our big men, Sandilands and John Griffin, it's been really great for the club. So we've got belief in him to go out and match it against these other really good ruckmen against Sydney, and yeah, so he'll work really hard to get his game, and yeah, so he's been great for the team, and he's been getting amongst the boys, and really good to have around. So yeah.
Do you think he's got the temperament to handle the number 1 ruck position for the next few weeks while a few of these other guys come back?
I guess being a teammate and seeing the way he's been going about it at the moment, I wouldn't put it past him. So I know he'll have help around him with a number of midfielders, senior midfielders around him, and our other tools. So he's got a big test this week, and but yeah, being a teammate, I'll back him in, and I know he'll play his role. So all he needs to do is play his role for the team, and get a couple of taps down to the midfield. So yeah.
Michael, Nat Fife's surgery suspension, pretty handy inclusion?
Oh yeah, for sure. He's missed the last couple of weeks, so it's good to have him in the midfield running around with the other boys, and so hopefully he can make an impact.
You mentioned Michael Walters before. How significant has that turnaround been for him and his form that he's shown?
Yeah, it's massive. It's I know when he came back down to the club after his suspension, he's actually worked really hard. I know when he went on his break, he stayed away from this off-field stuff and come back in really good shape. And so his skin folds, his 3K time trial, PB. So he's ticking all the boxes so far, and you can see it in his game. I know his GPS numbers are really up at the moment. I think it's one of the highest in the club. So I know that I would, if I was the opposition, I would hate to play on him, because he's really worked really hard on his running, and he's just the way he finds the ball, the way he crumbs, and how he finds the goal. It's very special to have a player like him on our list. So he's got a long way to go. He's still young, and but we're here to support him, and hopefully he can play a really good game for us on the weekend.
If he was to play in the midfield, what could he offer that you don't already have up in the centre?
I guess, I don't know, it's hard to say because, you know, we've got really good leaders in the midfield, but I guess he's something different, and I know if he goes in there and the opposition wouldn't know, you know, his strengths around the ball, so I guess playing a number of players in there could confuse the opposition, and if it works out, it works out. So I guess that's another string to Michael's bow, and not just a forward pocket kicking goals. He can play a number of roles, so which is good for him and good for the team.
Just after the tribunal last night, there's debate again about whether the monkey is dead. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a hard one. I guess it's not for me to comment about. It's I know there's been a few bumps in the past that have gotten off, and I guess last night's one, it's a bit different. So I guess, you know, it's hard to say. You know, I guess if it's a fair bump, it's a fair bump. But I guess other people are seeing it different. So yes, it's hard to comment about it. So hopefully the AFL can work on it.
Do you agree with the way it's going now? I mean, I don't know what a fair bump is now. I don't know, do you guys know?
I guess if you leave the ground and hit him in the head, I guess that's a high hit. So I guess you just got to stay on the ground and hit him with your body. So if you hit him in the head, I guess you're in trouble. So yeah.
Just one on the RAP. Roger, you might be best to answer this. How many different cultural groups do you think would come through Fremantle on those 30 Aboriginal players?
Just off the top of the head, would more likely to be around 7 or 8 different cultural backgrounds around Australia. So there's been a fair few that's come from, you know, Arnhem Land down to Perth. So there's been a few, so which is really positive, and for the RAP plan to be in place now, it's going to be really significant to moving forward. So which is really good.
And is that an important part of the teaching sort of the player group? There's so many differences that, you know, between those different cultural groups as well.
Yeah, I was just speaking with Ash Prescott and Steve Grace in the development room, and it's more, you know, put into perspective, is pretty much like England and Scotland, I guess. There's 2 different countries, and you know, and their differences, and you know, different ways and different cultures. So just put into perspective, it's sort of similar to those sort of things. So it's good.